She heard something.
Can't talk about it, man.
He's pushing up a dresser by the door, you know.
I was talking about.
Gabe, what you sipping on? What I see there?
Oh, there's whiskey in here.
That's
Among other things,
there you go.
Included would be sugar and bitters and orange and cherry. They called it an old fashioned.
Amen.
I was just I didn't want to interrupt your explanation. Right. I was like, it looks like an old fashioned, bro.
Yeah, I could have. I tend to just draw things out for a really, 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 really long time. J Mike, you're back. You're right underneath me now. When I kicked you out and brought you back in, you're now underneath me. Pause. Okay, so,
big pause, bro.
Yeah, big pause. Yeah, I was gonna open with something because I was trying to tweet. Oh my gosh, this stupid desktop Twitter. I've been trying to get this.
Don't hate it. Embrace it. Embrace the change.
Just keep drinking those old fashions. You'll be fine.
Trying to say that we're live, and I can't figure it out. It's like a switch, when the elders are not used to like the Facebook, and that's my thing now. It's like I can't get used to the Twitcher on the desktop version. So nonetheless, I got it live. I was trying to put together a tweet of taking the wheel, popping the hood, and I could fit so many characters, but I wanted to give all of you a kind of car comparison, a car comp. Couldn't really come up with anything. More so that it couldn't fit. So do we want to just go round robin real quick of what you are in a vehicle?
Ooh.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, but I'll go last. So.
I don't know. Maybe it's you on the field, like your transmission, because you're able to just shift and leave defenders in the dust.
Yeah. So we're doing
take me there.
Whatever you want, man. Just be you. Be you. All right. Do I have to call on you?
No, that's not me. I don't want to go first. I'm not.
Oh my. Well, okay. You know what?
I nominate Will the Pillow Thrill.
Yeah. So the Pillow Thrill is actually my monster truck name. The U.S. circuit, not quite going international yet. So trying to keep the fiberglass body intact. So that would be my car. I would be a monster truck, basically based on biceps and calf size.
Okay, I'm buying that.
I believe that's so far. That's a necessary both to switch gears and pull that lever, bro.
Yeah, I can steer with both the front and back wheels.
4-wheel drive, Pillow Thrill. Oh god.
Okay, so anyone else? Or do we need to leave that question open until the end of the show? Because I'm not sure if anyone's going to be able to top that.
I think I want to go with. I think I'm thinking of changing my whole persona to FF Fiat because I'm close to the size of one myself. I don't know. Maybe put us both on a scale. I think that. I don't know. It'd be close. Not really, but not really. I mean, I'm not that big, but like a Fiat, it's that small. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of horsepower in a Fiat. Really underrated. Kind of maybe a muscle hamster of sorts.
I mean, are we talking like a Tennessee walking horse, or we mean like miniature ponies, or My Little Ponies, or like baby colts? Like I
Mike,
know what you mean.
Me thinking of you driving a Fiat just makes me think of like Bowser in Mario Kart, man. Just that's all I think of, man. Just like
throwing banana peels out of the side of the window.
Yeah, dude's like tossing like turtle shells and stuff out the window. Like I just
red shells for days. Red shells for days.
Man.
That might have been a better thing to open with. Of what is your Mario Kart character? Bowser is fucking perfect.
That's pretty good. Well done.
All right. Anyone else? You got anything to share? Should I say that we're live? Do you want to talk about your car comp? What do you got? Anything? Jesse, did you come up with something yet?
No, I didn't.
No.
I'm stumped.
Okay.
I'm stumped.
Yeah.
Jesse's just a basic Honda Civic. That's how you roll.
Yeah.
That's-
I don't know if
Mike,
I'd be a car comp, but I'd be like a car part comp, I guess. I'd be more like the Bluetooth stereo that comes in the car because, like, I'm cool.
Ooh.
I'm somewhat trendy. I come in handy, but sometimes I'm completely useless and frustrating.
So not a necessity.
Right.
So you were like the badass accessory in 2008.
Right.
But right now it's just like standard.
Work. Yeah, but sometimes I just don't work, and it's just like you just gotta walk away for an hour. You know.
You just gave my wife's description of me, so that's
what my wife tells me.
Hey! That's like Voldemort. Do not mention her, Jesse. We already talked about this.
She's gonna walk through that door any day and just laser beam me right
I
now.
told you gotta
knock on that door, man.
Gotta push the dresser against the door. That's it.
Yeah.
Mike, you are the 10-year-old auxiliary cord. Like, it works sometimes, and sometimes it don't.
Right.
Super frustrated when it doesn't.
Right.
Yes.
And then there's that one day you need it most, and it doesn't work anymore. You know, that's it. That's it. That's me.
I just want to listen to podcasts while I drive. Come on.
That's it.
That's
all I got.
D-Bro, that was a great use of Bluetooth comparing to yourself. Yeah. Well, D-Bro's green now, so I don't know
what's up with
where
that.
he went. Oh, you're here though.
I'm here, but apparently, as soon as I slided Mike with the old school Bluetooth reference, yeah.
See?
StreamYard came at me.
That's right. You know I have control. Right?
Yeah. It came at me hard.
That'll teach you.
Talk about my boy like that. All right. Speaking of, we are live on the open bar. My goodness, it is Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern-ish. I put out a tweet that said, y'all thought Hangouts could keep us down. J-Mike, I think not. What do you think?
Come on. Google Hangouts, we had a wonderful relationship for 2+ years. You decided to walk out in the middle of the night with not even a note. And I'll be honest, for the last 4 or 5 days, sad, cried about it some, a little bit disturbed and even frustrated that you would choose to do something so selfish as to leave us hanging. However, in the last moment, in the moment that we needed her most, wonderful, beautiful Vixen came through. Her name was StreamYard. And she decided to treat us as well as, if not better than, you ever did Google Hangouts. So RIP, I wish you nothing but the worst. And I hope your stock price goes in the toilet. With that being said, I do need to let you know something, Gabe. Something very serious happened before the podcast tonight. So full disclosure, my wife is a huge Bachelorette fan. Like that's her thing. Okay. Yes. We're about to wade in those waters.
Oh man.
Now, right now, so literally they just finished the Bachelorette, and this is like night 2 of what they call Bachelor in Paradise. And I usually laugh at my wife all the time when she watches this. However, last night when I got home and got settled in, she was watching it, and I'm just like, here we go with this nonsense again. And with all the drama that was happening, I found myself like out of nowhere, just like slowly but surely getting closer and closer to the TV, real creepy like. And I was like, this is beautiful. And I don't know why I'm enjoying watching this drama so much. So long story short, tonight's episode almost didn't happen because I literally was watching The Bachelor in Paradise with my wife, laughing and cutting up about all the nonsense. And my wife was looking at me like I was crazy because usually I make fun of her. But now I'm the loser that's enjoying Bachelor in Paradise. I'm at a crossroads in my life, chicken or crow, maybe some might say. And I'm just, tonight almost didn't happen. I almost did not want to come because I was watching Bachelor in Paradise. Pause.
I don't think you're allowed to pause there, bro.
All right.
You full on committed to. Bro. Oh boy. Well, J Mike, I will tell you this and possibly make you feel a little bit better. I spent about 2.5 hours of my day today catching up on the finale of The Bachelorette. Now, mind you, I watch it for different reasons. I've mentioned on the show that we do a Bachelorette fantasy league to determine the draft order of our fantasy football league.
Okay. So just want to confirm you couldn't Google that the next day, like you had to watch the finale, or
I watched the whole season, J Mike.
Okay.
I am the commissioner of this league. Okay, both leagues, as a matter of fact, and I do a write up every week. I enter in the points. I don't do the points myself. I go to a website for that, but I do a little write up, for the boys. They love it. They're interested, intrigued. I make them all draft 5 guys at the beginning of it's just kind of it'd be like in the fantasy life, the Matthew Berry book. It'd be something like that. Just the things that we do for fantasy football, right, J Mike? I mean, I guess you are kind of like the things you don't do for fantasy football, because you were actually going to just skip this show entirely for The Bachelor in Paradise.
Well, okay, I was being facetious. I wasn't going to skip the show entirely, but I was wondering, okay, how close to 9:30 can I push it? Like, and I actually was here like 9:20, to be honest. And I don't know, like it's really pulling me in. And if my wife wasn't so embarrassed, I'd let you talk with her about it. But I don't know that she really wants everyone else to know that I'm enjoying myself watching the demise and frustrations and drama of everybody else who seem to watch the show every single season, every single year, thinking that it won't be them when they go on the show, but it's always them when they go on the show.
Is that a points per kiss league or
there? It is. It's PPK.
Maybe 0.25 points per hookup, I think.
Yeah. No, there's you get negative points for like swearing, for being kicked out before the rose ceremony. I mean,
well,
it would be exhausting to do the points for that. So I'm thankful that I can just kind of type it into my Excel spreadsheet and put a leaderboard up from there. Speaking of leaderboards, J Mike, you are looking at your 2019 Bachelorette Fantasy League champion. Give the man his money.
So what exactly do you win for that? Well, don't encourage him. What do you get for that?
It's points per kicks, man. I got to get on board.
OMG.
I get to pick my my draft order just for me, and then it goes on to the second place team and so on and so forth. So we don't do like, first through 12. We do my brother told me that this is actually called Kentucky Derby style, that you pick your selection on the draft board yourself. And however you do that is up to you, I suppose. But I'm not going to pick one. I've never liked picking one overall. And this is redraft, mind you. Do y'all have any suggestions of where I should pick this year?
I was just going to say not one. So, I mean, you're already ahead of the game.
Perfect.
Because I hate the one spot as well. So
3 or 4. It's 3 or 4 spot for me.
That's right. Third.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4 for me.
Yep. J Mike.
Kind of like if you don't like 3-4, I really like the turn at the end of the draft this year. I don't like the other turn. I don't like the 2-3 turn, but I do like 1-2 turn and 3-4. I like those a lot, actually.
And we got D-Bro back. Sorry, I couldn't. I have I know I joke about having control, but I really didn't mean to do that. I just have like 5 videos that I can see easily, and then I have to like scroll down every once in a while to see the 6th one. So
I will never say another bad thing about Bluetooth or HOF in this episode. I'm just gonna say, I got booted. I got green streamed. So yeah, we good.
Okay.
Lesson learned.
I'm glad that you understand the rules of the open bar now.
Apparently, I didn't get the show sheet. I didn't understand.
He's cool, man.
I'll send it to you now.
That pillow thrill's a bitch, man. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I tried to send it, but it was actually too big of a file. So it's still.
Hey, man, that long hanging fruit, it's hard to send.
Pause. D-Bro, we were just discussing if you could take any pick in this year's draft and redraft, that is, where would you go?
It's either top 3 or 4 or the turn. I like the turn a lot this year, man.
But you basically just said every single pick, top 3 or 4 or the turn. So that leaves out like 6, 7, and 8 or 5. Like, come on. Give me a pick.
Fine. 112. Fine, I'll take the turn.
All right.
Give me that turn.
Do you? I know it shouldn't ever be discussed like this. Of like wide receiver, running back, blah blah blah. Oh no, you got green.
You got green.
See, I didn't like
Yeah,
that, bro. That
man.
112.
I got green screen.
Get that one.
I didn't like your answer.
Damn.
I didn't
Twice.
like your answer.
Getting
So-
slime. Green
You
screen.
have to try again.
This ain't even right,
Um,
man. This is not right.
Is there? Can you speculate though on that 12th pick overall? Can you see yourself getting like running back, wide receiver, something like that?
It's wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. You could stack at that spot. You could stack like Julio and possibly like Julio NT or Julio Odell, and just be running naked in the streets. I mean,
so let me ask this. So that means you completely quit on the idea of having one of the, I don't know, top 12, 14 running backs?
At that spot, I think the safety, and maybe this is just my love affair with those round 3 and 4 running backs, over that, because I think that there's upside in those round 3 and 4 running backs to get near that RB1 status, that I'm willing to take the possibility I can get possibly like 2 top 5 wide receivers at that spot, and then come back in 3 and 4 and slam running back. Like, I mean, come on, J. Mike. If you can get Kerryon Johnson and Marlon Mack, are you not like singing to the bank if you rock an MT and Odell or Julio and Michael Thomas up in there? Come on, that's beautiful right there.
Well played.
You're probably right.
Well
Maybe
played.
I don't know if Kerryon would make it back to you now. I feel like you'd be looking at like Devonta Freeman, Derrick Henry.
In the third, Kerryon's not above the third, is
He's
he?
got that turn. You're late third.
Yeah,
Might be
he's
early.
right now.
Early third, maybe.
His ADP went up,
Yeah.
man.
Well, if you're doing
Yeah.
I was thinking the back end.
So fine, I'll go with the cheaper options. Fine, if you're
Yeah.
rocking Marlon Mack and my love affair with David Montgomery.
The love affair
right
lives
now-
on.
Right now, Fantasy Football Calculator has him going first in the third round in half-point formats, that being Kerryon. Just throwing it out there.
I mean,
If you're picking 12th, 13th, then you're not coming back around for a while.
Yeah, you're probably looking more at Fournette, Freeman, Mack, Derrick Henry, those kind of guys. I would
Josh
imagine
Jacobs,
that.
maybe, if you're into
I mean,
that.
just seeing how these running backs have gone off the boards in recent years, I'd imagine that Kerryon will be gone.
I mean, I love stacking the running backs, and don't get me wrong, I'm a Dalvin Cook truther, like till the day I die. But I mean, the safety of banking 2 possibly. I mean, because there's a path that Julio and Odell both can finish like 1-2, and then you snag the top 2 wide receivers in fantasy for the year. I mean, that's week winning upside every week.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Gabe, just got to the point. I was just going to say, hey, maybe we should introduce our guests, but
I
with
was
our new
thinking that
setup,
too.
is it necessary?
It looks like they're pretty introduced already.
Yeah, I'm just
At this,
I don't know.
if they request to be introduced, they're gonna get green screen.
You know who we be.
Apparently, if you talk too much, you get green
And
screen.
you know
down there.
why I'm here. You know why I'm here. No intro.
You're here because the wife is gone.
That's it, yeah.
She can hear you talking about me about that stuff, man. It's gonna come back.
would you
I
say
didn't
that
name her
so
by name.
loud?
I didn't say Baltimore.
I have to tell, no, honey, I don't know a Derek Brown. Not even
didn't-
a little bit. I don't know who that is.
Say like Beetlejuice, bro. I didn't say her name. Okay.
Well, we'll give y'all a little bit of time to say something about yourself. Sure. Okay. I'll even switch it up. So J Mike already mentioned it, that we are now, I mean, we're still on YouTube, but we're being powered by StreamYard, as you can see in the top right corner. And it is quite a nice format. They are not paying me to say this whatsoever, but I am impressed and I am satisfied. So thank you, StreamYard. If you do want us to sponsor or, let us, up your game a little bit, because there's a lot of people watching this every Tuesday, hit us up and we will certainly set it up with y'all. All right. We have guests. We have new people. We have old people. We have the oldest person, J Mike, already. He's said his words. Let's move on to the vet.
Hey.
I didn't mean it actually. Just you're so wise. Open bar, wise man.
Okay, fair.
The Bachelor in Paradise. Get your Bachelorette in Paradise takes here.
Almost paradise.
Are you talking to J Mike or are you talking to Jesse?
Yeah, I'm transitioning to Jesse. That is our first guest here on the open bar. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. How are you? Happy to be here.
I am just swell. I'm playing around with all these new tools. I just got rid of everyone's name so they can introduce themselves. Put the little open bar banner up. Gosh, we're so nasty. Happy to have
Flex,
you.
why don't you?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here, man. Things are ramping up in the fantasy world right now, so I had to stop by the open bar before things get too hectic and decompress a little bit and chill with my guys.
Yeah, we'll be getting into the Melvin Gorder Insider later on. That is
I did speak with
part
him.
of the reason. Yep. You don't have to, hold on. We don't have to.
I thought you only had Eckler on speed dial. Come on, son.
I got all three of them on speed dial. Had them over for poker last Sunday. You know this, Derek.
What game do y'all play? What game? What's the hold 'em?
Texas. Yeah, I was gonna say hold 'em. A little bit of hold 'em. A little bit of blackjack.
Hold 'em.
Oh, blackjack. Okay.
A little bit of blackjack. Poker.
Some Yahtzee.
Yeah, Monopoly as well. We have game night and they come over and we don't.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Well, look, I mean, you got to watch out for the hammies. As long as you're only playing Twister, we're good.
Yeah, right. No Twister in this
Savagery.
On to the next vet who keeps interrupting Jesse, and you can't see him because he can't figure out how to turn his green screen off. My whiskey connoisseur of a friend, get that honey into his veins. D, bro, how you doing, brother? Oh. Wow.
He gone.
I think he's doing great. I'll interrupt him this time. He's doing fine.
Yeah.
Derek is doing great.
Okay.
Man,
I figured that was good. We'll move on next to the Rooks then. First time meeting these two fellas in real life and kind of really our first interactions ever. I kind of ghosted you for a while, Michael, and I do apologize for that. And you're gracious for even DMing me a second time and even more gracious to come onto the show. So happy to have you. How are you doing?
Damn straight, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy I reached out. Got my Montauk whiskey, ready to roll. Talk a little bit of football. Have a good time.
I was looking at that pour that you had there earlier. You sent in the DMs. What is that? Montauk? What is that?
Yeah, Montauk whiskey. It's a local whiskey for you Long Island folks.
Okay.
So, pretty darn good.
They do whiskey in New York. Is that allowed?
Damn straight they do whiskey in New York. That would be the only way I'd leave here is if they stopped doing whiskey here. So yeah. But no, they do it. It's good. It works.
All right.
Yeah.
Won't hate it till I try it. Try before you buy.
That's it.
Just did a quick search on Twitter, Mike, just to give you a heads up. At FF Montauk Mike is open.
Goddamn.
Switch it up. Just saying.
Alliterations are key in fantasy football.
Have to keep the FF. That's a non-negotiable thing. The FF has to play because otherwise people don't know. That's it. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's either that or NFL at the end.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'll stick with FF. Yeah.
All right.
Gotta keep it real.
Happy to have you on, though. One other rookie in town tonight. Looks like you've got a decent little. Is that a bar set up behind you there?
That's another bookshelf.
The Thrill, the Pillow.
From the Pillow Palace.
From the Pillow Palace. We were talking before we went live that we have now completed the Fantasy Joe's trilogy. And you said that this is the greatest of the three in terms of the trilogy. So still true?
Yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to biceps and calves, if I have to hit on that again as we go through this podcast. I
have to.
I had a ton of FOMO. They seem to have a lot of fun on here. I was watching and paying attention. And, I reached out to J Mike and was like, hey, how about, you give me some love? And he's like, oh, I didn't even know you existed because you're barely on Twitter. I was like, oh, but come on. And so got the invite and happy to be here. there's one thing that I do actually want to plug. It's for Ryan, who's on the Fantasy Joes. That's at Roto Librarian. So he's actually running a fantasy league for charity for his wife. It's for a cause. It's called #EndAlls Bowl. It's to raise money for the Alzheimer's Association. You can join the Best Ball Charity League for $25 or more donation for a chance for some great prizes. The biggest prize right now on the table is a Football Guys 2020 All-Pro subscription or $50. So hit him up at Roto Librarian on Twitter if you want to join that league and give some money to a good cause too.
All right. Agreed.
That I'm super interesting, and it's going to be a great night.
Confirmed. You heard it here first on the open bar. Will the thrill is in fact interesting. J Mike, dude, do you have anything to start with? I didn't prepare a show sheet, you know me, so I don't have anything to say. I could talk more about The Bachelorette and how upset I was with the finale, but otherwise.
Yeah, so I think that there's one thing that we definitely have to address. One, Will, since you've done such a good job of keeping up with specifically the open bar episodes that your Fantasy Joe's compadres have been a part of, I think that there is quite the long legacy of smooth talking, basically greatest pickup line, if you will, between the three of you. That is definitely something that you must do while you're here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my state-of-the-art iPhone 5S, and I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes. And at the end of that 20 minutes, we need your smoothest pickup line. We need your best voice that says, you know what, ladies, I'm here for the love. I'm here for my heart. I'm here for the goodness. And this is the best that I have to offer you. So 20 minutes on the clock, starting now. So when that's over, Will, just so you know, the floor is going to be yours. I think Gabe's going to do something really cool with the screen to really make this your part of the show, to really take us somewhere that we've never been. So I'm excited for that. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, sorry, I muted because I was typing, because I am ready for this, but I wanted to write it out and perfect it before we actually get to that 20 minute time.
Wow me, Will. Take me away.
I'm gonna write it out. You're gonna have to wait at least 19 and a half more minutes.
You're gonna write it down. You're gonna do it in like some calligraphy pen too.
Well,
like
if you guys look, it's on the show sheet, so you might be able to read it live.
I'll be waiting for a letter from One Pillow Palace Way in my mailbox. You know that.
Back again.
Here he is. There he is.
Internet
problems. He won't leave me.
Debro making us work for it.
I feel like there are several things that we do need to address. Also, from the chat, Gabe, just to give you a quick heads up. Joseph Karavitas. I'm not exactly sure specifically what his handle is on Twitter, but in the chat he says, based on biceps and calf size is a great one-liner, first of all. So that is a shout out to you, Will.
That might be it right there.
Yeah, that's based on biceps and calf size. That's really good, actually. Strong. The other thing that we need to talk about is Mr. Super Duper Flex himself, Mr. Bill McCarthy. Bill's in the chat with us. What's up, Bill? Bill is talking about, basically, he was talking about, with you, Gabe, about what draft spot to choose, and he says that he goes top 3. Now, quick question: is this a super flex league that you're referring to?
It's not, actually.
Okay, well then never mind.
I don't want to offend him, but we could still talk about that.
Just real quick, if you guys had to name off your top 4 running backs for this year, what order do you have them in? Just quickly.
I mean, it's the chalk, probably contracts notwithstanding, or we factor in some things and some stuff.
We're trying to help Gabe in his redraft league, so I imagine that we're talking about this season, Gabe.
Yes.
So, yeah. I mean, it's going to be some combination of CMC, Kamara,
No, D-bro. Let me try again. What is your order. You're saying some combination of. I'm saying what is D-Bro's official order?
I mean, dude.
Oh my gosh.
I don't believe in the Zeke stuff.
When did you become When did you get stage fright? What is this?
Zeke, man. Zeke's the 101. No contract issue. Doesn't matter.
Just say
Zeke's the 101. I'm going Zeke, CMC, Barkley, and then I'm gonna go David Johnson after that.
Ooh, for 4?
Upside, I like that. Yeah, at 4, I like the PPR upside. I think they're going to go 4 wide a ton. I don't know how that offense is going to look with Cliff Kingsbury, but what I do know is that Mike McCoy is not there running David Johnson up the middle 20 times a game into an offensive line that cannot block for him. And I know that they're going to look to get David Johnson.
The offensive line still can't block for him.
They call that counterproductive.
Yeah, I look at it that they have a young nucleus there in Arizona now. It's a completely different coaching staff. Everything is different. We don't know. I can't project how it's going to look. And from what we've seen with the likes of Chip Kelly and other college coaches coming to the NFL, the spread system that they look to employ doesn't necessarily work in the NFL. They look to go up tempo. They want to run a lot of plays. They want to wear defenses out, and that doesn't necessarily work. So I'm not projecting that style is going to come in. But what I am is going to come in and be automatically successful. But what I am saying is it's going to cater to David Johnson's skill set a lot. He is a pass catcher. He's somebody you can put it literally anywhere on the field, and he can dominate unless you're literally just running him up the gut 20 times a game. That's not his game. You want to look to get him in space. You want to get mismatches. You want to get him on the outside, put him in motion. You want to use him as a versatile pass catching option. He's a guy that you can get 2,000 yards out of scrimmage or from every year if you use him correctly. I think Cliff knows that. I think he's going to use him very well. And honestly, I think that would be 4 there, but it's close. I like Kamara there too. So.
With that argument, why isn't he higher?
Coming off a horrible season last year, people tend to overreact on what have you done for me lately. His market is what people say his market is. So ADP is generally a culmination of hundreds of thousands of people drafting him. It's not people that are just going to be like, okay, well, David Johnson, I followed him. I looked at his numbers. I think, we're generally basing it on, a lot of people, I should say, are generally basing it on his season that he had last year. Now, I'm not saying everybody that's drafting him, that's taking him that low, doesn't know what they're talking about, but I'm going to go ahead and say that if his ADP is this low, that a majority of the people think that that's where he's valued at. I have him valued higher, and I'm okay saying that that's my guy there. Like I said, it's close between him and Kamara, but David Johnson would definitely slot in at that 4 for me right there. He's only 1 year removed from being injured. The season before that, absolutely phenomenal. He was a killer.
Yeah, and I meant my question to be like, so why isn't David Johnson higher than 4?
Oh, what? Because
wow.
Well, okay, yeah, okay. That's a good question. For me, it comes down to volume. I think CMC is going to get. I think he's going to be able to repeat or come close. I know a lot of people are speculating on Cam's shoulder. I don't necessarily think that that's going to be the issue, but we saw CMC get a ton of volume in the red zone last year after Cam did hurt his shoulder. And I think that continues, though. I don't think they're going to put Cam Newton. This is a second shoulder surgery in 2 years. I don't think they're going to continue to put him in tight knit quarters within the red zone, 2 to 3 yards, all the way up to 10. I don't think they're going to allow him to run where defenses are going to be reading that it's going to be a read option all the time. I think they're going to look to get CMC in space, and they're going to look to get him the ball on the outside, run him the way that they did last year, and I think it's just a volume standpoint. Zeke, league leading rusher last year, it comes down to volume when it comes down to the RB position. And I know he's going to get the volume outside of character issues. I know he's not, cross my fingers, no serious injuries. And I think that pretty much holds true. As long as he's on the field, I think that he's just going to have an outstanding market share of the Dallas Cowboys offense. And then, what did I say 3 was? Who did I say 3 was? I can't even remember. Was it? Oh, Barkley. generational. His yards created. That guy just creates for himself, regardless of the circumstance, and he's going to get the volume. They didn't draft him to not be the guy there. So I think it just comes down to mostly just volume. And when you project there, David Johnson would look to be the guy that's probably going to deal with a lot more in the passing game, a lot more young weapons there. And Kyler Murray's a guy that is going to scramble a lot. He's, when I did scouting reports on him and such, I noticed he's a guy that likes to put his eyes down, doesn't keep him up the field, and he looks to tuck and run. So that's going to factor in. But I think so. Out of all those four, I'd probably have David Johnson right about there.
Like it.
Long answer. Sorry.
I love it.
That was great.
I'm curious to hear Darius.
Whoa.
I don't know, man. I love David Johnson. I think he's the chalk 5, but putting him above Kamara, considering the touchdown equity in that offense, which has a top 5, top 3 run blocking line, considering that, much of the run offense, even if you we know Kamara's got a steady, he's going to get 100 targets in that offense. That's going to freaking happen, regardless of Latavius Murray or not. And if Kamara eats like he did in the first 4 games of Mark Ingram, in a better offense, and I will say better, with a better defense and more positive game scripts, I don't know, man. I have a hard time. I love David Johnson, but I have a hard time putting him above Kamara, considering, Kamara could easily, put it this way, he's going to see probably less volume, but with a better offensive line, more efficient offense overall, and not a rookie quarterback, because Breeze is still the GOAT. Do you think that David Johnson's going to sniff anywhere close to the amount of touchdown equity that Kamara's going to see?
I think it depends, but we know touchdowns aren't sticky anyways. I'm looking at, for me.
Well, they are for the Saints running backs. They've been top 5 in the last 5 out of the last 7 years as far as running backs. So as far as that offense, yeah, touchdowns overall, but as far as that offense and the rushing department, they're pretty damn sticky for the Saints.
Well, look, if you're projecting that Alvin Kamara is going to see more red zone looks or that he's going to have more touchdowns, I could probably get on board with that. But I think David Johnson is still going to be close, and I think that the volume is what's going to get me. We're talking even last year. We're looking at 2018 games. Alvin Kamara had, let me see, I don't see any games over 20 carries at all on the ground. And granted, he's not the type of guy that's going to split the tackles every single game, and he's not the type of guy that you're going to want to give the ball 3 times in a row up the gut. No team should do that anyways. But looking at David Johnson, we're week 4 against Seattle, 22 carries. And then we're looking at 3 receptions on top of that. Week 10, 21 carries. Week 11, 25 carries. Week 13, 20 carries. It just comes down to the volume that I think David Johnson is going to receive. And we know Latavius Murray isn't a slouch. The touchdown equity is great. And if you want to buy on that, then I'm all for it. I'm not complaining at all. And this comes with that top 4, top 5 running backs. There's a certain point where you have to take your guy, because you can make a clean argument for Kamara, but for me, it's going to be that volume. David Johnson has shown time and time again, even in a horrible offense, that he is absolutely undoubtedly the guy, and that he is going to get that 20, 25 carries a game. And I'll bite on that every single year.
Well, I'm tracking because I'm a DGen and I'm looking at too much preseason DFS stuff right now. But currently, the Cardinals are rocking 3 of their 5 projected starting offensive linemen are hurt right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that push that anywhere for you, considering this is a bad offensive line to begin with?
Well, I've had some really great discussions with guys who know more about scheme and stuff than I do. And I look at it as an ecosystem. I don't think you can buy a running back and completely discount the offensive line. So, and we're looking at, at things like, he had number 4 rated run blocking efficiency last year per rotounderworld.com, or player profiler, I should say. And it's not like he didn't have anything that should say like, okay, the offensive line is going to be better this year. They didn't make any concerted effort either to grab themselves a top offensive line in the draft. I mean, they went and picked the quarterback.
Well, they got Gilbert, but he's already fucking hurt again. So.
Yeah. Yes. Is it concerning? Yes. But am I going to let that hinder me? Because last year, even with that run blocking efficiency, we're talking about 10 total touchdowns, 50 receptions, ranking 14th in the league, 446 receiving yards, 940 rush yards. All of these are top 15 numbers despite having that poor run blocking efficiency. So if I'm going to make a case, it's going to be that I'm going to kind of buy into the Cliff Kingsbury system, or what I hope it's going to be, a young nucleus, an entirely new system that I think a guy like David Johnson and his skill set fit in. And I'm okay taking him there because I think that he can return on investment there. And despite the run blocking efficiency, because I don't think, like I said, I don't think that that's going to be as much of a factor as it might have been last year.
Okay.
But I love your argument for Kamara. Don't get me wrong, man. I think he's.
Well, I'm blowing the chalk here because everybody's putting Kamara at 4. So, I definitely could buy into it, man. I mean, I love David Johnson just as much as most, and a lot of the preseason camp beat coming out that they're lining up. I read something yesterday talking about they were lining up Chase Edmonds in the freaking slot, so David Johnson is going to be there. So I absolutely believe that 80-90 receptions is in the range of outcomes for David Johnson. So, I mean, giddy up. He's top 5 for me, but, I just have a hard time putting him over Kamara.
And you're Saints, aren't you?
Well, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I mean, nobody can see me on camera right now, so, I mean, I might have a Saints underwear on. I might be rocking like a whole Saints onesie. Nobody knows. Hey. It is what it is.
Homemade tank top. So with Max,
I thought we were going to talk about that, Gabe. I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
Beef jerky, baby.
So if the Saints homer, what's Max Unger leaving going to do to that offensive line with Kamara?
Talk about it.
Okay. I think so. They signed the guy from the Vikings. I'm skipping on the name here, and then they drafted him. It was McCoy in the second round at A&M, and I honestly I would be worried more about the center aspect if they weren't returning 4 other starting offensive linemen from a top 3, top 4 offensive line overall. And if Drew Brees, because I read probably way too much Saints speak, but Brees makes a lot of the calls at the line, not the center. So if that wasn't the case, I'd be worried more about losing Unger. So the protections calls are from Brees. And with that being said, I mean, I think it's going to be put him in and wash, rinse, repeat. I mean, if put it this way, they're not falling outside the top 7 in adjusted line yards this year. And I'll put that on the board. So,
just real quick, we got the 5-minute warning before go time for you. No pressure at all. Just throwing it out there.
You want me to go now?
No. I said 5-minute warning.
Okay, no, but said
what did I miss? What are we 5-minute warning here? Of course, I got internet issues, so I'm missing some stuff here from the Pill of Thrill.
Pill the thrill.
So long story short, bro. The Fantasy Joes, wonderful podcast, friends of ours over there. They obviously we've had Trey on before. We've had the one and only Mr. Liver Good on before. And they both gave us some super sweet pickup lines, a wonderful voice, just something that was really smooth. And so basically it's just been a tradition. And as the host of the headquarters for the Fantasy Joes podcast, it's only fitting that the Pillow Palace King himself, Will Greenwood, would grace us with his best pickup line. And then we'll have to actually have Twitter vote on, who had the most memorable pickup line moment on open bar history. So I believe all the appearances have been in 2019, so it's not like they'd have to go searching, dumpster diving for the archives of this. Maybe we can even get, hire a producer perhaps and have them go and pull out those sound clips. But yeah, this is going to be great. And with all that talking, I'm pretty sure that takes you down to about 3 minutes, Will. So yeah, 3:27 to be exact. So
high pressure.
All right, I'll keep Pillow Thrill out of it because that's kind of a trump card. It's not really fair. So here we go, everybody. I hope you're
ready. Wait a second. You're going? Wait, hold on.
Are you jumping the gun? You going early, Pillow Thrill?
Well, I mean, I figured with that setup, I'm ready to. I mean, I wrote it out.
in really big font. So my
Well,
remedial
wait.
take care of it.
Because I posted it on Twitter, and I want to make sure that anybody who wants the opportunity to come and hear it can hear it in 2 minutes and 56 seconds.
All right.
So with all that being said, Gabe, did you decide where you're going to choose from, where you're going to be picking from in your Bachelor League after the arguments presented by everyone? I don't even know, Mike. Did you share who you preferred in that top 4 group? How you had them ordered?
As far as draft position, or
yeah, just who you prefer in those top 4. If those are your guys, top 4 or 5, who do you like? Is there a place where you're like, hey, I'd rather have these guys over this 1 or 2? Like for me, I'm kind of with you, Jesse. I like David Johnson, and I actually like him top 3 right now ahead of Zeke a little bit. And I love Zeke. The contract stuff scares me. That's all I'm saying. So I really like David Johnson, and I think that I'd rather have him a lot more than I'd rather have Alvin or Zeke at the current moment. But Zeke could definitely be right back up in that. But
I would go CMC. I'd go CMC, Zeke, Barkley, and I would go Kamara, but I would say I've got Johnson at 5 right behind. So
hold on, you didn't say Saquon.
I said Barkley.
Nobody.
3.
Man, wow. I totally missed it. I'm sorry, Mike.
J. Mike was looking
Wait,
for
you didn't say
Saquon.
Saquon. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Saquon
Green
was
screening.
the right answer.
Green screaming. That's it.
Yeah. Big brother's coming.
Green screen.
Beef jerky already got me. We're gonna say.
Gabe, do you have a verdict as to what you're gonna do? I'm curious.
With the pick or the player? Because I'm confused.
Both. All of them. All the above.
I'm a bit partial to 3, especially in the landscape now, not knowing about Zeke, and I am okay with Barkley, Calf, or Kamara. And as to the point that y'all are making about David Johnson or eventually Zeke, they're picking 3 kind of gives you some insurance in the event that there's an injury to one of those top 3 guys, or that Zeke comes out and gets a new contract. Because I'd probably take Zeke before I would Kamara. CMC's closer to me, but I'd probably still take Zeke. So I don't want to be too close to the top. I don't want to be towards the middle ever. And I like what I see coming back around too. It's not terrible. So pick 3, and preferably, Zeke, I would anticipate. But if not, then I'll take, Calf or Kamara or DJ.
Fair enough. We've literally got 5 seconds left, Will. I'm gonna set this up for you. I just want to make sure that you're ready and you're comfortable for your moment here.
I got to kind of scoot up, I think. So
Are you putting him on the big screen, Bun?
I am.
I have my water ready.
Beautiful.
Really sharp. So I met the 2-drink minimum. So one of my not real flaws in life, but I do get a red face after a couple beers. So you guys are welcome for this show. So the pickup line is you'd walk up to somebody at the bar, and I'm just going to go if it were me. So I'd go, hey, girl, what's up? I'm going to call you Bacon because you're kind of fatty, but I bet you taste so good. How about I buy you a White Claw?
I like the White Claw. Yeah, nice touch.
Hold on, I need a repeat. You Bacon because you look kind of fatty, but
There was no look. It's because you kind of fat.
Girl, I'll buy you a White Claw.
I know. Is that in reference to the fatty bit that like you gotta keep low on them calories, girl? Let me get you a White Claw.
I originally wrote light beer, but I feel like White Claw is the new diet drink.
Yeah.
No, it's well played. I would seal it. That should seal it.
That should seal it.
I love how Jesse broke it down. He's like, hold up. Bacon and White Claw.
Yep. Just for the record, though, I love fat on bacon. So if she looks like a little fatty like bacon, I like that. Yeah. That's
right. Did you say your wife was listening?
Thick slices. Thicks, I want my wife's thicks.
I put a couple of extra pillows up.
I'm talking about her, Gabe. I'm talking. I love my wife.
You're talking about bacon.
She is my bacon.
Don't worry about Will. He's got plenty of pillows for that. It's all good.
Oh my
Lots
god!
of cushion, baby. Lots of
Dude,
cushion.
I'm gonna buy you a White Claw.
Now, bacon and a white claw now. That's what I know.
That's
Somebody contact RotoWare. We need a bacon and white claw shirt.
The only way I felt like that could have been like upped a little bit. It'd been like, I'm your White Claw.
Patent this.
Oh man.
So, Will, I want to give you a quick heads up on the chat because they lit up after your pickup line there.
Of course I did.
Good pal Bill McCarthy, good pal to the show. He hit us with chills. After you said it, just chills. The big homie Aaron B up in Maine. What up, Aaron? Aaron says, "Say that, then duck." Because she's swinging. FF Spaceman, what's going on, Dave? FF Spaceman's in the building. He says, "Are Will's DMs open?" That was hot. And last but not least, Double J, Josh Jordan. What up, Josh? He says, "I've never heard something like that ever." So this, I'm not sure if Ryan or Trey are up this late to listen, as they're both a couple of old men like myself. They may be in bed at this point, but by the time they listen to this, it's going to be a stiff competition for you guys.
Mm-hmm. That's a stiff.
Well done.
That's original content right there.
Well done. I'm very proud of you. Well done.
And
That's a wrap, Fantasy Joes.
With the game on lock. I'm not sure if you guys saw this today, but apparently Tom Brady and Giselle, they put their Massachusetts home up for listing. I guess they're selling that for a good 39.5 smackaroos. Not dollars, millions of dollars. $39.5 million for a Tom Brady and Giselle, super loving home. Yeah. So I'm just curious when it comes to obviously 39.5 million. And Will, you've lived the most lavish life of us, obviously, with your 4 pillow rooms and 15 bathrooms and all those other things. Can you take us through the life? Can you take us through the life of someone living such a luxurious life? And when you put something up, listing it for that, what exactly are you looking for in a potential buyer? And what are you going to do with the 39.5 million once you actually sell it? I'm curious.
Well, first of all, why are they selling it so cheap? They need some help. I assume that there's got to be some sort of like Brady bump in there or like Giselle bump. What house is worth like? Is that on the water? I was just very curious. I didn't look into this too much, but I saw it. And although this nice, let's say let's round up 1,300 square foot finished all office space house that I live in. That's I'm just very surprised. Like, what did Prince's house sell for? I think it was only like $9 million.
I have no idea. That
Hey,
place
I don't know much about.
Prince don't sport rings on 2 hands, baby. That's all you got to say.
I can't read.
I don't know much about really.
Amen, Derek. Amen.
Yeah,
Mike?
Oh, wait.
I don't know too much about real estate, but I can tell you this much: 39.5 million would buy a lot of White Claw and bacon.
This just in Blake Bortles just bought
that out there.
Tom Brady's house.
I concur on that statement. I do.
That's it.
Man.
I was saying this just in Blake Bortles buys Tom Brady's house. Watch out, world.
Doing whatever he can.
For what?
So awful. That's so awful.
Last ditch
Did
effort.
he even have a
Sam Bradford.
5-year contract for that long?
Yeah.
Or for that amount, rather? Jeez.
Buy a whole lot of
So,
White
we've got oh my gosh, the White Claw. It's gonna kill me for the rest of
Dude,
destroy me the rest of the week.
that sounds like something you'd have at brunch, man. Bacon and White Claw.
I'm down.
That's so awful. Oh my gosh. That's just bad. Real quick, we've got technically we just experienced our first bite of preseason football with the Hall of Fame game. We watched my main man Brett Rippon throw the game-winning touchdown, the best QB in Denver. We watched. I couldn't
say
tell
much.
I do love Brett Rippon.
It's a low bar.
That throw was so awful,
Yeah,
J-Mike.
don't gotta do much.
It's never been done. So at this point, we've got the Jags that'll be coming up this week. What do you guys look for in the preseason? Because obviously, I feel like right now on Twitter, everyone is really excited and they're firing off some just wild takes, some fun takes, some I think just really wanting to hear their own voice takes. But it's getting people kind of wild and hot and bothered. So at this point in the preseason, what exactly are you guys looking for to help give you an edge to either help you find that Phillip Lindsay or to just help you better understand, hey, how can I make the bottom of my roster look better? Or what do you guys look for? I'm curious. And it can be obviously anything, but I'm curious what you guys are specifically looking for at this time of the season.
Don't everybody jump at once.
Well, I think a big thing
I was
is,
going to hop, but
obviously you're always going to look out for injuries, obviously. But I think another thing is to see what stories you're hearing from each team, from the beat writers, and seeing if that translates over to preseason. Obviously those huge names aren't going to play, but those other guys that could potentially win you a championship, those other guys, like, for example, like Trent Taylor out in San Francisco. He's not going to win you a championship necessarily, but just what's going on out there. Is he going to be a guy that's going to command a lot of targets or not? So, and you got to see how that translates in the preseason. So, I think it's just seeing that and injuries, obviously, as always. Those are the two biggest things.
I love the fact that you just brought up the GOAT, Mike.
Damn straight, man. I had to get him in.
God damn it! I wish my camera was working right now. I'd high five the shit out of you right now.
I'll just throw it out
there.
Green screen 5.
Yeah, no shit. It's there. It's Phantom. It's
That's
Phantom.
It.
Just feel it, baby. You ain't gotta see it. Just feel it.
I know. I feel it.
Nah, man. For me, it's snaps, and I look at thin depth charts because that's the guys you could see climb. So those thin depth charts, like right now, I mean, I've been all about Twitter touting some Dexter Williams, dude. But shit, man, like Aaron Jones has missed 6 straight practices. Jamal Williams has got a hammy issue too. Somebody's got to tote the rock there. Dexter Williams has got the juice. So, I mean, for me, like, it's where the thin spots and depth charts and where are those spots you can exploit for dynasty and stuff like that. Like the guys that show out in preseason, if a team's hurting for players, or they're thinner or injuries like Mike is talking about, that's where you see guys ascend.
Yeah. So to get my take on preseason, I just wait till week 3 and figure out who the starters are. And go on that. So if you looked at could you name the top 3 carry leaders, top 4 even, from last year's preseason?
Chris
Not
Warren
even
up there.
Point.
Yeah. Chris Warren, he's one.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Chris
How did you know
Warren.
that, Nick?
Who is like a warrior?
Too much, brother.
DFS.
Too much, man. Too much. Chris Warren's up there. Who I'm trying to think of last year's preseason. Crap. Come on, Pillow Thrill. Hit me up.
Storm Johnson.
So it was Chris Warren, Gus Edwards, Mike Boone, and John Kelly, followed by Nick Chubb, which is interesting.
I was going to say Kelly was up there for me, but I didn't know.
And then a little bit down the list was my boy Ryan Null, who's really panned out.
Quite a bit. Feel my waking heart. Damn, the podcast is just we just got a little inflection here. I love some Ryan Null. Will, this is meant to be.
That was back when Nick Chubb was a scrub. He was a 3rd string running back for the Cleveland Browns last year at this time.
Yeah,
those guys come.
Tied over Chubb.
Ryan Null was the boss. I'm just going to say that right now.
Hayden Duke Johnson.
So I think maybe you can find out like some things about the backs. Like Jonathan Williams was up in the top like 15 in carries. So I just try to my goal is just to see who's actually going to be the starters when it comes to that like week 3 dress rehearsal a little bit, and then try to glean as much information as you can. But I loved Chris Warren too, and in the preseason last year was so much fun because I guess Marshawn Lynch went up to him and was like, "Hey man, what'd you do? How come you didn't get drafted?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." He goes, "Nah, man, you fucked up." Like. It's just so funny. Anyway, Chris Warren is a darling, but who knows where he's going to end up now. That's just the preseason will just break your heart. So just try to pay attention to who's starting the one important week.
Yeah,
but I mean, you do get to see the guys like Gus Edwards, make their mark. I mean, he was huge for people last year in parts of the season. So there are guys that you should be paying attention to. I mean, Chris Warren literally could have been Gus Edwards, and it just didn't break that way. But you should certainly be paying close attention to those types of things, and at least have them on your radar, depending on what kind of league you're in. It's certainly still important.
I think an underrated aspect too is that this is where we get a lot of our first look at our rookies, the guys that we kind of tout throughout this offseason and this process. A lot of people break these guys down and stuff. I mean, I know that if you watched a little bit of the Broncos versus the Falcons and you watched Noah Fant's very first attempted reception, I guess or target, excuse me. You saw his very first target.
Attempted reception.
I know. I was trying to come up with a word. Excuse me, but if you saw his very first target, he had a focus drop, and if you look at that and you're like, oh God, there goes Noah Fant, but then you would miss the second target that he had on an out route, and he went and he got a first down. He went for, I believe, I want to say it might have been 10. I can't remember off the top of my head, but this is where I like to get a feel for the rookies. We know that these coaches aren't putting out these complex offensive and defensive schemes. It's a lot of blitzing, and it's a lot of install to see what these guys are capable of, especially the rookies. And this is where you get a look at guys like Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and others that we tout and that we really like, and we see if they look like a fish out of water. Are they basically able to mentally comprehend a basic preseason install? Or do they look horrible? Do they look like they're really adjusting to life in the NFL? So with a lot of the work that I do with rookies and stuff, I really like to look and see, why was Drew Lock 7 for 11 for only 34 yards and had a 68 rating? Like, why is that? He was sacked 2 times. Like, why would why? I want to know, does he look that bad? And yeah, so that's kind of an underrated aspect to the preseason that I look at. And just looking at, I mean, we're talking about guys like Austin Eckler, undrafted, came up. And I'm not saying he was a preseason, he wasn't necessarily a preseason darling, but this is where guys like this get noticed. This is where they start to get their snaps. This is where they start to get on the field. And now we're talking about a guy, I'm kind of scared to look at this very moment, but we're talking about a guy who, in the wake of a Melvin Gordon holdout right now, is being drafted much higher than I think he should be. But that's another different story. But I'm just saying, this is where you get these guys. You know what I'm saying? Chris Warren was before, coming into the rookie process or coming into the pre-draft process, a lot of people speculated that Josh Jacobs was going to be a pick. But I think guys like Chris Warren and Jalen Richard and stuff, they still held a little bit of weight on that Raiders depth chart, and that's where these guys tend to show out. So I pay attention to stuff like that. Where can I find a guy that I think might fit in very well with that system? How do they look? And this is where you find gems, man.
In the chat, go ahead, sorry.
It's a much better opinion.
Not at all.
I like that quite a bit.
The wide receiver darlings are even worse than the running backs. I mean, people really, really dive on those.
Tajay Sharp season, baby.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Watch out. He might knock you out. Just saying.
Preseason
back.
No, he's
the
not.
Chat. What, J Mike?
I was just going to throw out, Aaron threw out in the chat. He says, he mentions the name Darius Slayton, and I have been back and forth on the Giants in terms of their prospects for this upcoming season so much since the end of last year. I thought that toward the end of the year, their offensive line was taking strides forward. Then they go and trade Odell in the offseason. Eli's back. They draft Daniel Jones, and everybody gets hurt. And all of a sudden, I went from kind of being optimistic maybe 7-8 months ago to like thinking, okay, maybe they can be functional. We'll see what could happened there, to now just saying, I don't know that I really want any piece of the Giants right now, aside from Saquon or Ingram, because I like both of those players and the situations. But Aaron brings up a good point. He says, hey, but if I can get Darius Slayton for free, maybe get a game or two out of him, what happens if you can fool around and flip him for a 2023 or something of that nature? At which I was like, you know what, that's actually a great point. Like you might as well try to get anyone with opportunity in the preseason or on their depth charts with those ambiguous, what? How did you do that, Gabe?
Wow, Gabe is
Wow.
I'm not saying anything. That was you, J. Mike.
Look at
Aaron
that.
getting
For
some
those
screen time.
for those listening in podcast form, first of all, thank you guys so much for
He
rocking
just
with
elevated the
He's
open
great.
bar to new heights.
He just popped the hood. He just dropped the mic.
But-
he did it all. Look at
And I
that.
thought we made it with White
Yeah.
Claws. Now we just upped it to another level.
Damn, man. This is
White Claws with the pinky up. I like that.
Oh, for
Yeah.
real, man. Sipping slow.
Like this.
So what Gabe just did with our new layout, which I hope you guys are rocking with us, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, Tuesday nights. We've got a new layout here on YouTube Live for us, and Gabe actually took Aaron's quote from the chat and is able to post it like a banner on our new video feed. It's beautiful, and I am. Oh my gosh! Wow. The part of this that you guys don't know is that Gabe actually, as the actual host / producer of what's going on right now, he has to be the one that okays any and all comments that come through.
Gonna get everyone.
That's
fine.
And the floodgates have opened. The floodgates have opened. You guys are missing gold right now. You know what? Please, this has.
Oh my god, I'm dying. This is awesome.
A quick way on the fantasy take of Slayton. I kind of equate him in not a similar bucket, but like a similar idea of like Kalen Ballage. And we were talking about this, and Trey for the fantasy host had a good point. If you're going to have Darius Slayton, one, he's the reason taxi squads exist in Dynasty, and that's the kind of player you want on there when the depth chart can open up and you can have an opportunity. But when he flashes, selling him for a 2023, I mean, what do you like? What's the big benefit there? You're going to take another dart throw and a third round rookie pick in 2020. That's going to be pretty low down. In my mind, and the way Trey said it is, you're better off waiting to see maybe that becomes a 2020 second, and now you're into a deeper rookie class, and you can capitalize more on the value that you've gotten for that player. And that was the same thing with Kalen Ballage. This is kind of the discussion we had, is saying with Kalen Ballage, you have him. Don't sell him now for. I mean, maybe a 2020 second is still a really good value, but there's a chance like if he's actually a starter on that team and somebody has running back go down in the season, you might be able to get more as it goes along, and your investment still isn't. You're not losing too much by taking that risk on your dynasty team. So that's just kind of like flipping it for a third seems. I mean that's fine. I don't have any issues with that overall. I'm not going to like hate on somebody for doing it, but there could be more here.
But the other side of that is, what if he's just a flash in the pan, Tajay Sharp, like Chris Warren, and you don't get anything back for him? So to the other side of that, what if you pop Slayton with a third and you get that second back? Would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point of like maximizing the value of what you're getting. Don't just move into next year for another dart throw. But yeah,
like if you could give Slayton, if you upgrade that third to a second with just getting rid of Slayton and he doesn't turn out to anything, that's still a win.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just going 1 for 1, but I totally agree.
So many strategies, so many ways to skin this dynasty cat. This is really I no, because I think that's a fantastic point. Like you said, one for one, maybe you do wait. And I think that's one of the reasons that I'm so excited about hearing that both of your perspectives on that is that I'm usually the one in Dynasty that waits too late. And Mike, I don't know if you have this issue at all, but I'm usually the one that waits too long and thinks too hard about things. And then by the time I'm ready to make a decision, either the flash has died down or that person's just not too hot, or they get hurt or something of that nature. Like last season, Josh Adams, right? Josh Adams kind of kicks down the door. He gets the opportunity to do a couple nice things in Philadelphia. Doesn't set the world on fire, but you had a very small window where people thought, man, I've got the super functional player that maybe could be something in Dynasty. We fast forward to now, and who knows where he is on the depth chart. Mike, are you one of those people who feels like you've got to try to capitalize when those type of things happen, or are you a slow to go type of person?
You and me are unfortunately one and the same. I take a little too long to pull the trigger, and then it blows in my face. So that's literally exactly what I am when it comes to that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that will be the thing that scares me, Will, is that I wait too long, and then Darius Slayton kind of just fades to nothing, and I guess what could have been that 2023 is now no longer. But at the same time, if you wait and that's dynasty. That's dynasty.
Yeah. To give the counter example would be if you had Philip Lindsay last year and you sold him for a 2019 second or third, you're kicking yourself about it. And Slayton at least has a decent enough profile to where it might be worth waiting. And Balaj is kind of like this enigma of a wild card that's different. But yeah, and I see both sides of the coin. But when you're talking about thirds versus seconds, I guess that's where I wait. Josh Adams is a later season player who came on, and maybe you did miss your sell window because how far was he back on that depth chart and then flashed? But also kind of sucks because I was on the same Josh Adams train. I like Josh Adams, and now he's basically worthless, and it kind of sucks that it didn't move him into the chance. So there's no one perfect way, but I just like the idea of if it's only a third, just to either package and move up or just hold.
You could make a whole team out of these guys that y'all are mentioning too. I mean, guys to, kind of either buy or sell or whatever. I mean, Robert Foster comes to mind.
Oh God, Dave, don't go there.
No, I'm just in neither direction.
Who said that?
Just as a topic. I mean,
no.
I am not necessarily a proponent. I'm just bringing up the name that he was an undrafted darling for people, and he could be time to sell now because it's our last chance. I don't know, but
bro's gonna fight you, bro.
Or could not.
Oh,
he's already been.
If the camera was on, man,
you could trade him straight up for Jake Kumaro.
Oh, God, speaking of. Oh my God, man. I could still fashion a really good spot right now where Rob Foster's a buy for you.
I still think he's cheap enough. I mean, the whatever the Bills receivers are.
As much as everybody loves some Zay Jones and stuff like that, that dude's been inefficient as hell throughout his entire career. So I'm not really buying any Zay Jones right now. And the guy that flashed with efficiency and skill is Robert Foster for me. Anybody that's buying into John Brown, I'm not going to hate on John Brown. I love some John Brown, but the dude's still 29. He's got his own set of issues and stuff like that. So I still think that expecting John Brown to operate, because Robert Foster is the X on the depth chart right behind him, expecting John Brown at 29 going on 30 next year to be a thing even this year, much less past this year, I think is still hoping more than reality. So I'd still be buying into Robert Foster. Like if I could trade a fourth for him, I'd do it all day. If I could trade a late third for him, I'd do it. I mean, maybe I'm just drinking too much of the truth or Kool-Aid, but I still believe that he's got youth, he's got talent, and he could still ascend on this depth chart.
I think that stylistically, or maybe just philosophically, this kind of builds on a conversation that we had touched on last week, Gabe.
Damn it, Gabe, the banner.
Brilliant.
Somebody take this power away. Bro. Take this power away. This is too much, man.
If you're not watching live, man, you're missing out. This is gold. So philosophically, and I'm curious of your all's kind of thoughts on this, but last week we had talked about trying to touch base with understanding when is the window, or what, maybe the better question is what signs do you look for in terms of getting out from a lot of these higher tier running backs. So these situations where we've got Zeke in the holdout and Melvin Gordon in the holdout, Le'Veon Bell from last year, like all these different things that we look for, right? People not necessarily looking to get deals past their rookie deals that are substantial, all these different things. And also talking through this information regarding preseason and how that, what exactly we're looking for, or what drum beats are we listening for to determine whether or not we buy, whether or not we hold, all these things. I feel like philosophically this builds into some really awkward question for me, which is I feel like there's got to be some sort of philosophy or deep down gut feeling that you go off of. Shout out to Jason and Derek. There's a gut feel that you go off of that determines what characteristics or what things I'm looking for to help me make those decisions moving forward. And I don't have them written down in me, but I feel like all of us probably have inklings, and maybe it's the day that we wake up, how we're feeling about something, or a report that we see that might be the last straw, or whatever it is. How we make these decisions to either get the heck out of there, these top guys, and not get held with the bag at the end, or hey, how do I get Josh Adams off of my team ASAP because I know or I feel that this isn't going to be great. I find that conversation and that inner fight, that cognitive dissonance, just so fascinating. I really do.
When you wake up with a belly full of bacon and White Claw, it's time to trade. That's all I got to say.
Definitely have some regrets.
It's trade season right there. That's what you know that day.
Oh my God.
I think it's bacon. I think you kind of say like you win or lost a trade, and it would be bacon or White Claw.
That's a double win right there. Tell you what.
So I could comment in the chat, and you could throw it on the banner, right? I could say whatever.
I mean, I could.
I'm
Hey, Gabe and Dukes right now. He might not. He might shoot you another ball, bro.
Oh man!
There you go.
For those listening, come here, Michael says, I'd rather be drinking White Claws.
I don't know what I don't know what was that an emoji there?
The lobster. Yeah, the lobster.
Oh, lobster. Oh God.
On the phone,
Oh man.
That's so
good.
You're welcome.
All right.
That's my contribution to the show. There you go.
Oh my God.
Hey guys, real quick, in a PPR league, random trade thought. Would you guys do Dalvin Cook and Kerryon Johnson, or would you have Michael Thomas?
Is this a trade?
Dalvin Cook and Kerryon Johnson, or Michael Thomas? I'm just curious what you guys think of that. Not you so much, D-Bro, but
I feel
everyone
like this is the offer I've gotten before.
Give me the $100 million man. Give me Mike Thomas.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Okay.
Yep, Michael Thomas.
And Jesse, that means a lot coming from you, knowing how much you covet running back. So I take your word right there, very, very heavy. But everybody else, keep going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop the train there.
That would be my initial reaction, but I also think that there's not really much room to grow for Michael Thomas in terms of ADP and value, and there's, I mean, not necessarily a lot for Cook and Kerryon either, but there is room. So, if you're believers enough for those two guys and feel like they're going to have the seasons that people want them to have, they're going to increase in value, and you might have yourself two Michael Thomases, and flip that back for whatever else. But I think just like vacuum, I like the Michael Thomas side still, but I honestly don't hate the other side.
Okay.
That's a powerful offer. I'm pretty high on Kerryon coming into the season and the way that team's going to be. But in general, Thomas is the safe bet, right? In Dynasty. So you should probably take a relax, maybe wait that out. Or unless you know your league and it's very, very running back like thirsty, they're White Claw thirsty for running backs, then I would probably take the running back side and try to flip Dalvin. And I'm a Vikings fan here in Minneapolis, but I still think flipping Dalvin, he's still increasing in value somehow, which is, I know he's a good player, but like it's still increasing without being on the field basically at all. Is very hard to comprehend. And I think you could flip him into another top 10 wide receiver pretty easily.
So I just want to review real quick. We went around the horn there, D-Bro, in case you didn't hear. And everyone of this esteemed group panel, if you will, chose Michael Thomas. Okay. Thank you guys. I appreciate your input more than you know.
Should I check the phone right now, J Mike? Is that
no? I'm gonna just let it hang.
Let it simmer.
The block.
I maybe I offered MT in that deal to D-Bro in the league that we're in months ago before he became the $100 million man. I don't know, and I don't even know if that offer is still on the table for me in my heart. Maybe I'll just take my business elsewhere because someone was incredibly disrespectful about it. But you know what? Apparently I'm not crazy. I just thank you guys for validating me that I'm not crazy. So I appreciate y'all. That was all, D-Bro. I just wanted to make sure that I was just curious what everyone else thought, because, sometimes it's good to get perspective from others besides yourself because, you don't necessarily know everything, but it's cool. I get it. I'm cool.
Man, sometimes when all I could say is sometimes when you shotgun that fourth White Claw, that shit turns on you. That's all I gotta say. When you get that fourth lime shotguns, I mean it can turn on you, baby. It's 2 a.m. and the room is spinning.
Is there a bet that we could make right now with this whole Michael Thomas carry-on Cook thing? Is there a bet between you two and the loser pounds the White Claw? Can we make that happen?
Oh man.
I did recently.
Yeah, warming up into a bed. I'll come back on here and I'll shotgun a White Claw. I don't care.
I did recently see they make tall boys of White Claw now at the liquor store. They don't,
no!
God, pillow nose.
I just got to interject one moment. But I'd like to just mention that White Claw's DMs are open on Twitter. So,
sponsor, baby.
Send them a link to this show. If this show doesn't get out there.
Gabe, I think you need to change the banner on this.
I know.
Taste.
Sponsored by White Claw.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going.
This is sponsored by,
right now. Why is the
Open
mango
Bar brought to you by White Claw? Happy hour all the time.
Yes.
Okay,
Jesse, that's exactly right.
A quick argument.
I don't even drink them, but I feel like I should ask for others because that's
right.
I don't drink these things, but people want to know. We need answers.
Since the DMs are open, do they have virgin White Claws? That needs to be asked.
You want me to ask that right now?
Yeah, it needs to be sent.
Right,
Mike, if you could put a picture, Gabe could put that up there.
That's a DM that needs to be sent by FF Montauk Mike, if I'm honest.
That's true.
I'm not sure.
I can't do that right now. I can't. Shall we wait till tomorrow? Yeah, first thing. All right.
Maybe sleep on it.
Yeah, I'll hold off. I'm gonna stay
when you wake up with a belly full of bacon and White Claw, you know it's time to press send. That's all I gotta say.
Save the draft for now.
All right, it's
There you go.
get back here.
Okay, quick argument to why my pickup line was the best is you guys did not talk about the others' pickup lines this much at all. And I just got you a new sponsor. So you're welcome.
I agree.
It's pretty compelling.
Well,
No, I'm pretty sure who was the second one, J Mike?
Yeah.
The second
The
Fantasy
second
Joe that
one
we
was
had
Ryan.
on, and didn't he Google one?
Yeah.
Didn't he Google
he also
his
needed
line?
time to do some research and kind of figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Trace was very off the cuff, just it was strong.
Trace was
and then
strong.
Ryan
I remember that. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, he was strong.
Is
Oh
dumb.
no, he had my wife listening in like, hey, who's that? And I was like, hey, it's enough. Chill out. So yeah.
FF still
Well done.
your girl.
shout out to Joe. Trader Joe.
Joe.
Wow.
I don't know if he's here in the chat.
I
I enjoyed the delivery the most on your just how you said "Hey girl" at first really had me kind of scared but kind of intrigued. Like yeah, I'll finish this.
Yeah, just like a White Claw.
The bacon was a nice icebreaker. I'll say that.
That's what I say when I'm dipping into a White Claw.
Yeah.
I'm scared, but I'm intrigued.
My White Claw wasted. Let's go.
Oh God.
God.
Did we lose J Mike now? It looks like he has to have a discussion with his wife about
Yeah.
the Bachelor.
Apparently, we brought up Fantasy Joe's too much. These pickup lines have
Something happened
Yep.
on that.
things and stuff, man.
I didn't even green screen him, man.
Well, you're only at the hilt when you green screen yourself. Okay, that's where I'm at.
Just pay your internet bill, man. Just
Look, man. I tried, but they wasn't having it. What can I say?
Does somebody keep picking up the phone at your house and it's
Oh,
not connection?
Look, you know what, Pillow Thrill? I don't need anything out of you. I went to Costco and I bought 2 cases of White Claw just because your ass, and now I can't pay my bill. So I'm putting this on you a little bit, okay?
Honestly, worth it.
I mean, that's what I hear.
So, D-Bro, you mentioned Dexter Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
For your kind of guy that you're sound a little excited about, since Aaron Jones is out right now, Jamal Williams as well. So it looks like he might have a look in preseason. We've talked about kind of what we're excited about in general for preseason, but I'm curious if you other three have any guys that you're looking forward to seeing in preseason. Just one guy particularly. Who should get some playing time, and it could be a deep dive or it could be a first round guy. I know Jesse, you said Fant, and I'm going to make you say a new one, but any guys that you're just kind of excited to see.
Oh, don't pick on me first.
And maybe even have. I'm sorry to cut you off, but a guy that could even get himself into a relevant role, like Dexter Williams very well could. If he balls out in preseason, it might be looking into a 3-headed monster in Green Bay. So. Carry on, Jesse.
Well, I was gonna say, don't put me on the spot yet. Two guys that I'm kind of excited to see pan out. I want to see the wide receiver situation in San Francisco. So Debo and Hurd, I kind of want to know what is going on there. And I'll give you 2 right now too. I'm really excited from what I'm hearing out of camp and to potentially see Miles Boykin as well. I'll give you those 3 wide receivers as kind of a trio that I'm watching for. I want to see what the target distribution could potentially look like. Today we saw a lot of reports coming out of 49ers camp about Marquise Goodwin being the one on the outside there, and then having Dante Pettis rotate in with Kendrick Bourne as the flanker, sort of that Z. And I want to know how, because everybody has Dante Pettis pegged as the guy there, the guy that you want to own. I'll be honest, I don't have anybody in that 49ers offense right now that I have pegged as being the guy. If you're going to go on youth and a little bit of college production as well as some injury concern, I guess you want to go with Dante Pettis there. But I'm excited to see Debo. I'm excited to see him and see how he's going to pan out, if he can stay healthy, how he's going to look in a Shanahan offense. I'm excited to see Jalen Hurts, see how he fits in there. They picked those guys back to back, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. And I'm excited to see kind of, or a round or 2 apart, give or take. I'm excited to see how that pans out, and I'm excited to see if Miles Boykin is the real deal out there for the Ravens too, especially after taking Marquise Brown as the first wide receiver off the board. So those are the 3 guys that I'm going to be watching for training camp and seeing how they're able to process everything being thrown at them. Like I said, see if they look like they're fish out of water and they can't comprehend a basic install in preseason. They're probably going to have a little bit of issues heading into the season against real NFL DBs. So.
Yeah, my guess is that
I like that a lot.
And Boykin would be those that would look closest to fish out of water, just considering how raw they are at the position, but I'm certainly interested as well. Those are good. J Mike, did you have something to add to that? I'm sorry.
No, I just really like San Francisco. I like what Shanahan's cooking down there, basically. So whoever somewhat emerges as the Kendrick Bourne replacement, as the number 2 target for as the number 2 target for the San Francisco 49ers.
I saying to go and sell Kendrick Bourne right now?
No, I'm saying go buy him right now. Buy all the Kendrick Bourne that you can.
Before the price is too damn high.
Heroes never die. I just like that a lot. No, I'm very in on Shanahan in San Francisco. So please, Jimmy G, don't screw this up for us. We watched Nick Mullins make George Kittle the fantasy hotness that he is by just giving him the ball. Please, Jimmy G, just don't screw this up for us.
As an Iowa alumni, I think George Kittle made George Kittle the fantasy hotness.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't throw himself the ball.
Yes.
He didn't throw himself the ball. Nick Mullins forever.
But another like fun little training camp blurb about Jalen Hurd is he got in 2 training camps. Already.
I thought that was a little concerning. I like the fight, but not against your own teammates. I'm gonna go ahead and you don't want that bad blood that early.
They watched the tape over there, and apparently he was being a little too physical for some of those DBs while he wasn't wearing pads. So they took
a big dude
of that. Yeah, so that's really what it was. And,
as Kobe would say, you're soft.
This wasn't a full on fist fight like you got up in Denver with Manny and Sutton. Man, those dudes were throwing dukes up there.
Right, and they even I think it was even Trent Taylor had said it when he was talking to the media. He was asked about Jalen Hurd. He basically said that they kind of had to tell him, save that for the other teams, pretty much. So I'm not too worried about that. But I was actually going to say that San Francisco 49er wide receiver group is going to be very interesting to watch. And I actually think, while I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to throw for a ton of yards, he's probably not going to throw for a lot of touchdowns because they have such an inefficiency when they're in the red zone. But I think it's going to be a very frustrating season if you're invested in 49er wide receivers. I think you're going to get some games where Pettis is targeted a lot. Then you'll get a game where Trent Taylor is. You'll get Debo. Debo's going to break late. So I think it's going to be very frustrating when you own these 49er wide receivers. But there will be passing yards to be had, that's for sure.
Are you going to be frustrated if you own Kittle the whole year, though?
The only thing with Kittle for me is those yards were so high and those touchdowns. He had 5 touchdowns last year.
Yep.
So, I mean, you'd have to expect those yards are going to come down a little bit. That's only, it's understandable. So you have to hope now that they are going to be more efficient in the red zone and that they do utilize Kittle. If that happens, that's going to negate the loss of yards and you'll be all right. So I don't think he's going to get hurt too bad, Kittle, but obviously regression in yards for sure.
It sounds like no one likes your take, Michael.
Well,
I do. I like the take.
Oh, yeah.
I was
not
just
the first time.
I was going to counter and say that I think that if there's anybody right now, if I'm going to peg one wide receiver that I really like, it's going to be Debo. But it's going to be a matter of whether or not he can stay healthy. He garnered a really large market share over at South Carolina. And I think that he has all the tools to be able to be a great wide receiver in this league. I think they drafted him for a reason. He can be a very effective Shanahan receiver. I'm telling you, the kid is electric. It just comes down to injury history. We saw all of his low totals, all his low market share, all his low statistics, everything across the board only go down when he's injured. So it's just going to be a matter of whether or not he can consistently perform at that level. I think he's the guy to own there. But yeah, I mean, I'm on the George Kittle train too.
Man, I feel like the besmirching here of Dante Pettis has reached an all-new high after one tweet today. I think like that's just absolutely crazy right now. I feel like we all crazy talking, but that's just me. I love
we all.
Look.
I just said I love everything Shanahan. What do you mean? Who is we all? Do you mean this panel? Do you mean the Twitter world? I'm curious.
The Brady Bunch, all of this. Like the bacon, the White Claw, all of it.
Over there.
I mean,
I got no one over there.
I don't know. You point at Mike.
No.
I mean, y'all can't see me. I'm pointing straight at Mike right now. I mean, it's all a mystery. But no, dude, I still put Pettis as the guy here. I think that he's a guy who's an elite separator. He's a guy that can play all 3 positions. I think he's had an up and down camp so far. But if you look at those target totals, like we're on Twitter earlier today, he's been targeted the most by Jimmy G. So I think that all of this stuff coming out today is more of a challenge to Dante Pettis to step up, to be the dude and to make that next step. And not to say I don't love Debo. I like him, but he's had his injury concerns like Jesse was talking about. And if we look back at last year, how Pettis was even worked into this offense. Debo missed he missed a lot of minicamp, did he not, Jess? Am I wrong? Like he had hamstring issues or things like that?
Yes, he has. He has some soft tissue injury.
So, some of that early install stuff he missed. So I think that Debo could come on, like Mike was saying, towards the end of the year, and we could see that like Pettis did last year. But to say that he's going to be relevant all of this year, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. I love some Pettis. I'll definitely throw that out there.
Hey, Gabe, I've got an entire division for you. Everything in our beloved AFC South. I really find that entire division very fascinating right now in the preseason because I want to know what the heck is going to happen with our beloved Jaguars in terms of the passing game. I'm low-key excited for Nick Foles just because, A, he's Nick Foles. B, he's not Blake Bortles. And those things are very important to me. So we like Dede Westbrook quite a bit, and we don't know who the number 2 guy is or what the passing game or how valuable
who the number 1 is. To be fair,
right? I'm saying we're hopeful for Dede. I think we're hopeful for Dede. And staying in the division, I really like Tennessee to bounce back in a major way from a fantasy perspective this year. That's just kind of my feeling. Again, I'm not basing that on any kind of statistical anything. I like Mariota a lot, and I want to see him succeed. And I think that Corey Davis might eat. But Donta Foreman being signed in Indianapolis, that's huge. Not because I like Donta Foreman, and I haven't. So like I'm Jesse, I know that you like him a lot. You like him a lot. But he's just, he's not my favorite, but I find it interesting that they, out of everybody, picked him up. And then also lastly, hey, who is the true Robin to DeAndre Hopkins' Batman? I'm really curious to see how that works out as well. So I think that whole division is very fascinating to me. And Andrew Luck is hurt, by the way. Like, I think that's kind of a big deal.
I know that's been kind of secret, but the report of like thinking he'll be ready by week 1 is just kind of scary in its own right.
Have him DM me for calf workouts. I got him.
Right. Well, yeah. I was just about to say that.
I mean, you might have to already check your DMs. He might already hit you up, baby. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is the real Andrew Luck or if it's what is it, Colonel Andrew Luck?
Captain Andrew?
Captain Andrew Luck. They might have hit you up, so just make sure.
Either way, those message requests,
White
gonna hope that these are not the same.
White Claw Drew Luck. Is that a reach?
Are these? Yes. Yeah, very much so. Are these? Are these the same calf exercises that you gave to Kevin Durant, or just curious?
Whoa! Have you seen Kevin Durant's calves? These are not the same exercises that I gave to Kevin.
Quickly jumps up. That's
okay. Boy. Anybody on the Jaguars trying to scoop up any shares of DJ Shark?
Why not?
Yeah, late round flyer for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, what I was going to add on to that 49ers wide receiver talk is that all of those wide receivers are pretty expensive for not knowing a whole lot about them, and just mostly excited for the Shanahan offense, I think. Because, I mean, there wasn't really like anything proven except for Kittle to say like, yes, you're worth a 8th, 9th round pick or I don't know where Pettis is. I'm sure he's way higher than that in the 5th, 6th round or something. But in comparison to some other teams, Jaguars being one, I mean, Bills being another, Ravens, all these teams have, these wide receiver cores that are probably similar to that of the 49ers, but are just much, much lower in ADP. So, like DJ Shark, yeah, absolutely. Why not? I think he showed plenty in his first season to be worth a late round flyer, like you said, Jesse. I mean, just incredibly cheap. And I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't. Whereas you have to spend so much. You probably have to spend more to get Jalen Hurd versus DJ Shark, which is just like insane to me. So I don't know. I think there's a little bit of a lot of hype on the 49ers wide receiver core that we don't really know about.
Well, I'll stay with the Jags hype here, and a guy that's been getting low key press, and he's got at least a really easy path to a lot of snaps. Anybody buying into if you're in tight end premium, 2 tight end leagues, some Jeff Swaim season?
Just did.
Hey,
Deep, getting deep.
Just saying, man. You got a lot of wide receivers. It's open depth chart, target tree here. You got a guy who showed out a little bit when he got some targets last year. Still young. I think he's 26. You get the John D, how he used tight ends. It's a dart.
It's a dart. Yeah, that's a dart.
It's a dart.
I'll be honest.
It's a dart.
Yeah, all right.
Kyle Rudolph was crushing it with John D last year. But I do like Jeff HOF Swim as a dart throw.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of on there. But, so the Filippo thing brings up, and it's going to go off topic here a little bit, but when we were looking at Kirk Cousins, let's say coming over to Minnesota, Kirk Cousins loves targeting the tight end because he has Jordan Reed in Washington, and then came over. Then now Kyle Rudolph had just a horrible year last year where you're trying to take him for like a little late round tight end scoop. Do you guys feel like that is being translated a little bit maybe to any sort of Swaim hype, or who's the rookie they took? I don't know the name on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, Josh Oliver. Or the way that I feel like sometimes we move players to other teams when you really don't look at the talent that they had, and then that's where the targets were distributed. You're saying that this person targets the slot all the time. Well, that might be because they had just an excellent slot receiver. So with Foles, I'm very interested to see how he's going to pan out in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think some of that kind of gets thrown from place to place. Like Cousins targeted the tight end because he didn't have anything else for wide receivers. I mean, but outside of Dede, what other proven wide receivers do they have right now? I mean, even if you want to go with the Keelan Cole hype or of yesteryear, I mean, what he showed. So, I mean, my whole thing is somebody's got to get targets there. Who's it going to be outside of Dede? Like Fournette? What else? What are we going with? Because, I mean, the Jaguars at some point in the ball game got to pass the ball. So who's it going to go to outside of Dede?
Yeah. it might. I mean, it might not be.
Two places.
It might not be like a specific guy or even Dede himself. I mean, there's guys like this every year that, or QBs every year, teams every year that have these kind of weird group of receivers that all end up being like top 40 guys, they're all like wide receiver 4 and 5, but the QB still has, a QB 15 year or so, just spreading it around so much because there's not really like that dependable guy. And I'm not sure if Westbrook is, honestly, and it's a difficult situation, much like the other wide receiver groups that I mentioned. So I don't know if there's another guy. I don't know if there's a guy.
I guess I'll better form this. Is there a path to Jeff Swaim ending up as a top 12 tight end? Because we know that bar is really low, like 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. Is there a path there?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
There's a path.
Tight end 5 is equivalent to tight end 25. So
am I counting on it? Do I feel great about it? No. But there's definitely a path.
Okay. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I think he's a good spot to throw because, like, he's got talent. He's shown some things when he has been targeted. And because of what that wide receiver room looks like, and dear God, I can't believe we've spent 10 minutes, I'm sorry, world, talking about Jeff Swaim. But, I mean, just say it, man. He could be that guy that you end up streaming or picking up, and is what it is. Like, he's the top 12 for this year.
People came here for the Darius Slayton and Jeff Swaim takes tonight.
I hope so.
I mean, I thought they came for the White Claws, but I mean,
one thing that I will note is that just Nick Foles is all around just a better quarterback than Blake Bortles. So anybody that's tethered, maybe I should rephrase that. I'm not saying anybody that's tethered to Nick Foles, I think, or the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, but I believe everybody gets a bump We're talking about guys, Marquise Lee as well. Leonard Fournette looks to take a lot of that market share in the receiving game there with TJ Yeldon now gone. Nick Foles is just a better quarterback than Blake Bortles, and he's coming off one of the most efficient years in terms of pacer as well, well over one. For every yard he's throwing, there is a yard of a passing yard with it. So if anybody doesn't know, pacer is just basically passing yards over air yards. So for every air yard he's throwing to the receiver, he is garnering those passing yards. He looks efficient at almost every single area of the field from the 25 on down. He's not a guy that's going to push the ball down the field a ton anyways. So guys like Marquise Lee and D.D. Westbrook, especially Leonard Fournette, again, Jeff Swaim, like you said, might be even a little bit more of a dart throw now that I'm looking into some numbers. But anybody who is going to be a part of this Jacksonville or this Nick Foles led Jacksonville team is going to be elevated more. And we're looking at last year's a little bit hard to go off of too. Looking at Blake Bortles, I mean, he had his lowest attempts of his entire career, and we saw a lot of that target distribution be kind of skewed by that. I know Keelan Cole and D.D. Westbrook had a lot there. But he's coming off of we as fans are looking at one of the most inefficient seasons that Blake Bortles has ever put out in terms of attempts and overall volume given. So I think that's going to be a little bit hard to go off of. But this upcoming year, I think Nick Foles he's going to elevate that offense, and I want a piece of D.D. Westbrook everywhere. Him and Fournette, I would love to get a piece of him.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask what you thought about Fournette with the offensive changes there. So there we go.
He's a stud regardless. If he's not missing games, man, I love him. He just gets the volume, and that's what you need out of a running back. I think he's top 6, top 7 at the very least. I mean, he's got top 4 upside if he can, not run over to the Bills sideline and cold clock some people. If he can stay, if he keeps his head on his shoulders, he's a lock. So
that's true.
I think the two things you want to hear in the offseason, at least from a running back perspective, we've gotten a herd out of Fournette's camp, and that's losing weight for a running back is good stuff.
White claws
and white claws forever.
Mm-hmm.
But also pass game stuff. So losing weight, if we're worried about joints and things of that nature, it's good stuff. More pass game usage. He's not being thrown like 200 times straight into the back of the center is good stuff for Leonard Fournette. So I'm all in on Leonard Fournette this year. I really, you get 13 games out of that guy, he's going to be an RB1.
Agreed.
Apparently, we broke
Gabe,
the bar.
Well, I think what messed us up was as we come to the end of the open bar this evening. I find it interesting that it wasn't Gabe and I bigging up Jacksonville Jaguars talk for once. Mm-hmm. So I was taken aback by it, and I'm befuddled and I'm amazed at the same time. But with all that said, Gabe, I think that our time has come for the evening.
Okay, whatever you say, J. Mike. Didn't have anything to say about the Jaguars at all. Nothing.
It's already been.
You're excited about Nick Foles.
I'm excited about Leonard Fournette.
I'm starting to I'm starting to get excited. I'm just curious, I guess. I kind of already. Yeah. I already understand what he is. I think he's better than Blake Bortles. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of thinking that that defense is still really good. And if they can it appears they're humbled now, and maybe they are going to be a bit different this year and kind of a chip on their shoulder of sorts. And you don't necessarily, you saw Blake Bortles took the Jaguars to the AFC Championship game, or not necessarily Blake Bortles, but you know how people lead the QB narrative. So, Blake Bortles took the Jaguars to the AFC Championship. You could replace that with Nick Foles very easily, I think, just as far as the quality of QB. So I do still think he's a bridge QB, but I'm curious if it can be done. So there's that. My Jaguars hot.
4 years to
Hotness.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Hey, at least
Yeah.
Jaguars are giving their fans hope.
Well, you got the mustached beast in Gardner Minshew sitting on the bench, so that
I like him.
yeah.
I like him.
He's
Just
just
look
raw.
like Burt Reynolds, like something out of like Magnum PI, rolling up in there with the sweatband and the mustache.
Nice.
Dude, I was like, man, you're a boss. That's all I gotta say.
Mhm.
If he rolls up to the first game at a T-top smoking a cigarette, I'm out.
Yeah, I think he's what everyone thinks Baker Mayfield is. As far as his style and personality and whatnot. Okay, J Mike. Well, that's fine. Let's get out of here. I don't really like anyone in here anyway, so that's perfect.
He's got that on pause in the back.
That is a bold face.
Oh shoot, the mic. I thought it was muted. I thought it was green screened. Didn't mean that.
I'm over it.
I'm still here, man. You didn't
Perfect.
kick me out. So
Didn't your mom ever teach you not to lie to people, Gabe? You love me. Stop.
I know. Stop
He
it.
just said he had hope for the Jaguars. He's
Stop.
clearly lying.
Stop it. All right. Well, shoot. You know what, J Mike, gosh darn it. I'm just so happy that we are able to do this show live still. I was so concerned that we were going to go to a stupid Skype thing and try to figure out what my password is that from the last time I used Skype in 2011.
I thought I was going to have to send you my Skype name. And
I
it's
know.
nice.
Yeah, look, I'm
It's a
going to
little
tell y'all what mine is right now because I was worried about that as well. It's not even terrible. It's just like corny and, from
if you tell me
middle school or high school or something. So I'd always try to come up with names to put my name onto
this is gonna
something.
be awesome.
So instead of I don't know, I'd say like Fantabulous, or instead I'd go Gabe Tabulous.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's better than mine.
All right, what's yours?
Really?
All right, if there's not a 6'9" after that, that's not a true statement.
It's a gay tabulous at AOL.com.
Mine was also made in the midst of middle school haze, I should say. And it's just Sex Panther 717. So
Oh,
I
shit.
was going to have to throw that out.
I like it.
Guys, I thought I was going
You
to
win.
Hey,
Works well with the beard now.
It works all the time.
Not many
Jesse,
grow into
Jesse,
their
you make
online persona, but I certainly did. So,
Yeah, man, you can make that work now.
Hey, yeah, exactly. Jesse,
Yeah.
you make any bet with me right now about any player that's reasonable, please, so that we can do a handle bet. Because I need you to be Sex Panther 717.
it's Gabe Fabulous. You gotta take that.
for how long? How long do I need to be the Sex Panther?
Just a week.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
Do a Chargers player. We can do a Jaguars receiver.
Jaguars player.
Swain.
You can take. How about you take Westbrook and I'll take the field for the leading wide receiver
All right.
in fantasy points
Yeah, I'll take
for
it.
the 2019 season.
Total.
We've got an open bar bet.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll take Westbrook on that.
All right.
All right.
I mean, I think you're definitely in the advantage there, but
I
still,
think I am too, but I will live up to my word.
I'm totally
Now is
just.
why people need to be watching the video because the open bar has got an upgrade, baby. This is awesome.
Shout out to Bill. Shout out to Bill.
Yeah,
Bills,
FF.
aka Mr. Super Duper
If you're in
Flex.
the chat and you look and
Man,
see
well
that, so I could.
I'm done, man. Oh my god.
Oh,
6% of the time, baby. It works
Hey,
all the
Gabe-
time.
Gabe, this
If you
is
have
your fault.
FF, then you ain't trying. That's it.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
All right, J. Mikey, write that down. I don't have any fancy toys on this website to write down our bets, so
Oh,
surprisingly.
here, I'll put it in the show sheet.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks. buddy.
Yeah.
I think you will. Well, Will's on top of it.
Yeah.
Just write it down next to the
Gabe.
rhyme, type it up. It's all good.
Gabe, who did you have in that bet? I know Jesse has DD.
I have the field.
Yeah, DD
and
versus the
that's
field.
all. That's all receivers. Swaim,
even Swaim.
Fournette. No, I'm just kidding.
Is this fantasy points or what?
Yeah, fantasy points, right? Right, Jesse? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Total fantasy points. Yep.
Full PPR.
Full PPR.
All right. I got it. It's in the show sheet, boys.
All right.
Yes.
We need some more open bar bets before the season starts, J Mike.
Yeah, we got to do better.
It should be. It should be.
We will do better.
At White Clawed Sex Panther.
Probably can't fit that. Trust me, I've tried 15 characters.
I don't understand Twitter, so
those are some white claws on that thing.
Yeah.
This is my guy. His name is Derwin.
Now, you'd think.
Oh yeah, I have a cat too. That's why I have the water bottle too to drink out of, because there's cups. You're gonna get a cat paw in there.
Yep. They just like to swing on him.
I just caught that Derwin, huh? That's cute.
Derwin.
Yep. Very, very cute.
Hey, wait, quickly. Are you guys buying into Darwin Thompson?
May as well.
I'll take that as a resounding no.
For the free.
Not yet.
No.
Would you trade Robert Foster for Darwin Thompson right now?
Nope.
No.
No. Not even close. Nope.
I mean, I would. One of them's going to get cut. So
Robert.
I'm just playing. I'm just
take that out of
jerk.
the show sheet. Delete it. Delete the show sheet.
Okay, hold on. Oh, wait. The Drake takes are still in there, so I got to get rid of those first.
I'm just saying you could do better.
Do you spell bacon with a capital B or is it lowercase?
Always capital B.
Okay.
I mean, it was
Always. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike.
So,
all right. So we've got ourselves. Sorry, go ahead there, Will the Thrill Pillow.
yeah, if we're all saying goodbye, let me just redo for at Roto Librarian at the hashtag EndAlls Bowl to help fight Alzheimer's disease with the Alzheimer's Association. $25. You can win some money, or the Football Guys 2020 All Pro subscription. So hit up at Roto Librarian. Maybe we can share the link to that fantasy league on MFL. But I'm actually doing something good here too tonight, other than White Claw promotions.
We can get the league page or whatever in our show description as well. If you get that to us, is how large is the league? Is it Scott Fishbowl size, or what are we talking here?
I think he's kind of waiting to see the
interest. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he'd cap it. And I think if it came down to it, there'd be multiple leagues and things like that. But I think in general, he thought maybe the $25 entry fee would keep out some people, but get enough in to where it's manageable.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yes. So go and check that out. And bonus, you get to play fantasy football for the year. You know, not only are you setting things up for a good cause, being a good person, but you get to play fantasy football. It's always easier with and charity when you I know this isn't how it should be, but when people are giving into something that they actually get something back, you know, the joy of doing something with it that you just gave away, I guess. So it's good to see fantasy football and charity mixed into one, because I think that really, really promotes the cause and everything. Good to have you on. Nice to meet you, my man. Very much appreciate your presence. You are are we doing a Fantasy Joe's ranking this podcast, J Mike? Is that what you said you wanted to do, or was that?
I'm going to put the poll up on Twitter.
The poll.
Yeah, I'm going to put the poll up on Twitter.
The poll on Twitter. So look out for that. We'll have to revisit the pickup lines and see at least who had the best pickup line and put that poll on Twitter. Yeah, good to have you on. Until next time for you. And then for the realist, the FF realist.
That's right. Got to add that FF.
That's right. It's
Damn
not
straight.
the realist FF. It is
No.
F. Yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Got it. Yep.
Yep.
Do you have anything to say to all of the other realists out there?
Just keep it real.
Ooh. Ooh,
Smooth and simple.
I
Baby.
like
hit him. Just hit him with it.
I like it.
I like it.
I like it.
Thank you. It felt good.
Thank you. Not happy to have you on as well. For the first time, and until next time for you, Jesse.
My guys.
Mm.
I know the drill, so I'll be short and sweet. I love all you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me at the open bar. It is always a pleasure. I am at your beck and call. Whenever you call, I will be there. You guys can find all my work over at Roto Underworld now, playerprofiler.com. I'm going to be dropping a lot of good content. Article on the way this week sometime. Be doing some tiered rankings. Just started up a new podcast called The R&R Dynasty Show with my man Russ
Fire.
Pitcher, aka Dynasty Outhouse, the one and only. Great guy, great show. We do a live aspect. We hang out. Somewhat similar to this, except we're just basically copying you, but don't tell him that. Anyways, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, we definitely take the spirit of what you guys kind of do here, and we sit down, we talk about what everybody else is talking about. We have people come on, and it's just an all around great show. I definitely have fun with Russ so far. I think we're going into episode 4 or 5. Great stuff. But yeah, like I said, playerprofiler.com. Roto Underworld. You guys catch me there. Hit me up on Twitter at Jesse Reeves FF. And thanks again for having me on.
I wasn't short at all.
That is what you call a plug game.
Got the plug and the outlet, homie. I see you. All right.
That was the long hanging fruit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Boys.
The longest.
All right. D-Bro, did you figure out how to ungreen screen yourself? Would you like to exit
man. Watch this. I'll probably
Yeah.
be like gyrating and
I like that.
Seizure disorder, baby.
I like that.
It's real.
Anything to share from your end on just the audio? Because we can't see you anymore, but we miss you.
Well, you can check out my ugly mug on videos right now. Putting out a video series for the Quant Edge with Benny Heiss over at Fantasy Sports Markets. So check that out. Lots of good content coming out for the Quant Edge. I'll be doing 2 articles a week. Man, we got so many things dropping soon for the Quant Edge. It's ridiculous. Past that, man, started a new awesome pod with my buddy, my brother, Eitan Mosier. And so the Triple T, we are bringing on guests every single week. We got to get y'all, some of y'all up in here, everybody up in here. To do that, we're basically hitting whatever trending narratives and going over those with our guest every single week. So check it out. That's all I got, man. Unlike Jesse, I can hit the short and sweet.
You guys over here. Ungrateful.
Gotta slight. I gotta put some disrespect on your name there, bud.
Yikes.
I'm upset.
All right. So we got some new pods from you guys though. The T3, and then Russ and Reeves, R squared. I got y'all. Okay. R&R. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse's all obsessed with R right now, so you gotta roll with it.
That's true.
I am. I'm a data scientist now. So
I'm a data scientist.
It's
going in the
joke.
Going in the caption tonight, actually. Yeah.
Hashtag.
Proud of it.
Absolutely.
You want me to make a banner for you right now, or?
I mean, you don't have to. It's kind of troublesome that there's a communist nature to this that only it has to go through you to get what I want up there. Like,
I love how he says you don't have to, aka you could.
It's an option. It's always an option.
Yes, there it is.
So if you
to
want
be honest with you, that is not a title I want.
I've been looking into R myself and doing a couple of tutorials. It's a fun little project. So good luck with that, my friend.
It's time consuming. I'm working inside of it a lot, but it just takes up a lot of time. So, but it's fun. It's really fun.
Yep. You're taking a lot of time to ultimately do things that are going to take less time.
Yeah, exactly. That's the grand scheme of it. But that would require us more time talking about the less time that it would take us to require time. And now it's just a time continuum paradox. Now we're talking about string theories and cut the feed. Cut the feed.
Cut the feed. We got Will the Thrill on
hugging the pillow. I mean,
Yeah.
we know that there.
He brought
to bring him
props
out.
to the open bar. He knew that the pillow fort was going in. Yeah, no, everyone's got things happening. So go and check out all of the things. So, I mean, we can really just leave it. Oh, I was going to say the T3 pod, you probably, with all that Dante Pettis slander, that's probably your take down the take of the week, huh?
Oh my God. Aton has been basically, we're on a guest and we have a show sheet. We actually do have a show sheet.
What is that?
It's a fictitious animal. It's the unicorn, put down on Google paper, that we read off of. And basically every week we bring on a guest and Aton throws some kind of like wrench in the gears just to slight my ass. Like we had TJ Hernandez on and he had like a regression article. And of course I love Calvin Ridley, and Aton's like, so TJ, what you think about Calvin Ridley? And I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, come on, man. But that's a weekly running, basically everybody I love, Aton hates. And he brings on guests to side with him.
It's a bold strategy.
That's one way of looking at it. Sure. AKA he's plotting my demise.
Well, you keep grinding, all right? You don't let Aton get you down, man. Okay.
It's all good. I'm gonna warm hug.
I know you're hiding the tears right now behind your green screen, but you're good, man. All right.
But you don't want to see any of this. And I'm pulling it back.
See, I feel like you kind of have some control over me. You can kind of threaten me and be like, look, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, with this green screen, and I can Hulk out on your ass at any moment. I know. You just don't know. I can threaten an entire population.
Like, hey, man, you want to seize out? No? Okay. Better be nice to me.
You thought you liked this show, didn't you?
Oh, God. All right. That's enough of you. I'm kicking Matt J. Mike. Speaking of my wonderful co-host, I'm going to leave it to you to say some things, some words. What have you got to say?
Just waving at my granddaughter there on Jesse's screen.
My baby's just got home, man.
I just waved and realized that my camera didn't work, so there's that.
No. I'll try to keep this brief. I know we run way long, and again, to everyone in the chat, thank you guys for joining us this evening. To our guests, my son, my grandchildren in the back, my daughter-in-law, everybody in Jesse's household. I wish you guys nothing but the best, and again, thank you guys for joining us. For those that have recently asked me if Jesse was really my son, wow.
The resemblance. Hello. So you can't tell that if they ask that, that's disrespectful. You are my
dad. Looking at the resemblance here. I mean, we got glasses, we got beards. Come on, son.
I'm just gonna say. First off, I'm not near old enough. Second off, he's my people, and we rock like that. So you can either get with it or get rolled on, or as Mason Ramsey says, you can either giddy up or giddy out my way. Juice.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. You can find us basically on everywhere podcasts are had, basically, and by the time we get to next week, we'll have some more news for you guys. I'm sure of some other shaking and whatnot that's going on with Gabe and I and how we're moving. So you guys already see the new drop here with the StreamYard. Hopefully, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback already in the chat, on Twitter. Lots of people showing love with that. So we're glad to be able to present a fun way of doing this. And with Gabe at the controls and actually acknowledging the YouTube chat now, the sky's the limit. The pillow is the roof at this
it's
point.
real.
The pillow is the roof.
My brand, man.
So again, to our guests, truly so happy to have you guys on. Full house, but we've had a ball. I'm on Twitter at JMikeCheck. You can find Gabe on Twitter at FFManBun. And again, if you don't want to rate us on any of your podcast feeds, you can always show love by just sharing with a friend. or maybe even just listening to us while you get your workout in, or on your commute to work and back for the next, 3 days, because that's how long this pod is. So we appreciate you guys. Gabe, with all that being said, take us home.
Yeah. I'm just, the only thing I have to say is how ecstatic I am about this website, and just being, I don't think I finished my thought of being live and having that opportunity is very fun. We joke about the chat not existing, or I do rather, but it certainly keeps the show alive and going. And especially when I can, do things like this and show all these silly, lovely things. So, I genuinely love this, because now J Mike is usually transferring all of the knowledge from the chat, to all of you, just via his beautiful voice, which is all perfect and fine. But I think it's kind of engaging for everyone to kind of have an opportunity to throw themselves up on here too is fun. And also a reason to come and check us live, so you can be featured on the Open Bar podcast weekly, Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern ish. But for real, it is fun. Yeah, just a whole new element, man. I'm excited for this. So I don't know, J Mike, you didn't say anything about the Dynasty Dummies, the Blitz that you do, because you do a podcast, and he doesn't talk about it, but he does a podcast, and it's like only 15 minutes long. You don't have to sit and kick it with us for 9 times that length. You just listen, and if you do the 1.52 times thing, I mean, you're just sitting for like 7 minutes. You could, basically brush your teeth and you'd be finished listening. So go and listen to that. Dummy Blitz, good podcast from J Mike, my dude. I make intros from time to time. I believe I have made an intro for one person on this little gathering that we have. Are you still doing the youth movement, Jesse? Did you mention that on your plug?
Discontinued right now.
Got you. Okay.
The Joes would happily take one.
Oh, are you applying?
I mean, yeah.
It's quite the application process.
I'll work in there that I actually plugged you to a few podcasts that DM me today, so you might be hitting up.
Hey,
get some DMs. I put the man bun out there in the space. Just had to gotta say that.
Perfect. And, because when school starts up, I'm not busy at all, so I'll have like a lot of time to.
Real quick before we go, Jesse, I just want to let you know, over your right shoulder, it's been an absolute privilege to be able to watch the sunset in California. I've never seen that.
That was kind of
wow, cool. It was really beautiful.
Kind of cool. It's kind of dope. At one point,
Mahalo.
That light was hitting my skin like I had angles, so I felt down. But now that you say it, that was kind of cool. I like that.
It was fire. All right, Gabe, we got to go. It was fun.
Yeah. Hey, thanks guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. It was a great time.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Happy to have you and the rest of you on it, for real. We've got to put drinks up. We will be here next week, J Mike. Is that true?
I'm holding mine up, just so you know. It's there.
Yeah, right. All right. No. So
we believe you. Oh my God.
Cheers to everyone out there joining us in live and then podcast form. But we much more enjoy your presence here live. It's a good time. So we hope to see y'all here next week, Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern ish, and deuces.